Here we go. Manchester City have signed their new goalkeeper, according to reports. Fabrizio Romano has dropped his infamous "here we go," and looks like we've got James Trafford. And I'm very excited for this because this is a very exciting keeper. I'm genuinely drenched in sweat because I've just legged it back from the park with my family to do this video, hence why I was a little bit late. I've done my best to get back here for you guys. I had to talk about this. Yeah, I'm sweating. I'm sweating. And yeah, a little bit out of breath, but it's worth coming back for. James Trafford is a keeper I've been very excited to watch in a Manchester City shirt since the first time I saw him in the academy sides. I hoped one day he'd be Manchester City's #1, and it's just taken a big old step closer to that reality with the return of the young lad. From his temporary spell at Burnley, you could say. Loads to talk about in this, loads of different angles, because it's not quite as plain sailing as it seems. It looks like Ederson might actually stay at Manchester City as well, which is very, very interesting. We'll talk about that in a little bit minute and what it could actually mean. But either way, Trafford is a fantastic keeper, and he's coming back to Manchester City Football Club. Please give the video a like. Please subscribe if you are new here. It does help support the channel. I've missed these lives as well, Nintendo. Good fun, aren't they? When we're all hyped and we're all ready to talk about all things City and transfers and exciting signings. Fabrizio Romano dropped it about an hour ago saying City have agreed a deal to sign James Trafford as a new goalkeeper. Here we go. Deal in place with Burnley under the value of 40 million buyback clause. Under the value. Trafford said yes to Manchester City as Pep Guardiola wanted him. Newcastle are also informed about Trafford's decision. So there we go. He did more stuff about it. Fabrizio, let me find it. He also put more an exclusive story on Trafford. He said, understand medical tests will take place next week, main part on Monday. City to pay 27 million fee for Burnley for a goalkeeper as revealed. Bear in mind, we sold him for what, like 15 to 20 million, somewhere between. We're probably only paying like 10 to 15 million net for 2 years of development for one of the best young goalkeepers in the country. Absolutely ridiculous. You'd probably pay as a loan fee those prices anyway. So an absurdly good deal for Manchester City to get back a goalkeeper of this quality, of this pedigree, for such a cheap fee. Basically, the Ornstein tweet breaks it down a bit. I'll go to the Ornstein tweet as well. Let me just go to, I mean, City Extra will probably have some more stuff, won't they? Over on the aggregate. Let's have a look. Here we go. So more stuff. Where's Ornstein? Hello, David. How you doing with your friendly little face? Here we go. So he said, I'll go to the article actually because I've got a subscription over there. It's distracted 15 million already. Okay, so anyway, it says City are set to re-sign keeper James Trafford from Burnley. Newcastle held a long interest in the England 20 international, had an opportunity to sign him at the end of May before the Club World Cup when City weren't considering a move. City's plans changed, however, with 22-year-old set down to join Ederson and Ortega as goalkeepers at the Etihad Stadium. Guardiola's side have matched the Newcastle offer of £27 million, with the player agreeing a 5-year deal plus the option of a further 12 months. By the way, it doesn't say like it's got rid of the fee. £27 million, that's what Newcastle paid. No, that's not right. We're not paying 40. It says we're paying £27 million there, mate. I don't think that's right. No, it's essentially 14. Newcastle aren't paying 40. We've matched the bid. It says current number one Ederson has been linked to a departure, but claimed last month that talks his ex were fake news. Is now set to stay at the club. The expectation is Ortega could still leave, but nothing is close at the current time. Trafford joined City's youth ranks age 12. Spent time on loan at Bolton. Never made a first team appearance in his first spell. Talks about his spell at Burnley and so on, but he caught the England manager's eye. He impressed last season with the Kompany success of Scott Park, conceding only 16 goals in 45 games. That's 1 goal every 3 games. Long spells at Accrington Stanley. Bolton did really well there. I know a Bolton fan, they absolutely loved James Trafford. They thought he was phenomenal. He was included in the provisional 33-man squad for the European Championships, but Pickford, Ramsdale, Henderson made it. There we go. Newcastle are missing out on a lot of people, basically. They're missing out on so many targets at the moment. I saw a City fan saying they felt sorry for Newcastle. Oh, why? What do we owe Newcastle? I don't feel that sentiment at all. Like, why? I don't care. Why should we care about that? Like, I know they've been like. I mean, I don't. Sheikh felt sorry. I don't get why he felt sorry. Who cares about Newcastle missing out on targets? Who cares? But anyway, Ramsdale, it looks like we've got a man here, and it's very exciting. It's very exciting. Not Ramsdale, sorry. God, glad it's not Ramsdale. All seen said, yeah, he's set to stay as well. Ederson. Even Ortega's not guaranteed to go. Apparently, according to the secret scouts, here we go, the secret scout over here. City made the decision now to sign back James Trafford as they were the other clubs want to sign him and can't wait till next summer. Trafford knows he won't be number one this season, but plan is for Ederson to leave at the end of next season. So it looks like Ederson could be staying. Like I saw some people say the last time Ederson had Ederson had any competition, we won the treble, which is true. He definitely upped his form when Ortega stepped in and was actually pretty good. So I look. The thing is here, you'll come in as the number 2, I reckon, behind Ederson, which is probably actually quite sensible. Let's be realistic about it. Like, he's a young keeper with big expectations still. Coming in and playing with the level that City play at in training and so on, and learning from Guardiola, the coaches, Xavier Mancisador, I think it's pronounced something like that, who's the goalkeeping coach, learning from Ederson too. It largely is... It's good for him to have a slower ease in, and of course he'll play the cup games almost certainly. I think Ederson, yeah, he is forced to be better by Trafford, and I think Ederson, as AJ said in the chat, they'll have to stop being complacent. And Trafford doesn't come in with all the pressure on his shoulders. He will play games. I think Ortega has to go, absolutely has to go. There's no two ways about it. You can't stay around if you're Ortega and expect to be, a third choice goalkeeper. We've got Bettinelli for that. Big old Marcus Bettinelli. It's a really good, really, 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 really smart signing, I reckon. And much as Ederson, the thing is, if Ederson's form stays poor, Trafford will get his go. And it's one of those things, I think Guardiola has already shown that he will play Ortega. At one point he played Ortega because he felt like Ederson's form was dipping a little bit. Do you remember that? And Ortega got some games. Then Ederson came back in again. But there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee, that Ederson is going to hold on to this number 1 shirt for the entirety of the season. I think James Trafford is smart enough to know that with Ederson guaranteed to go in a year, because he's not going to sign a new contract. City won't even offer Ederson a new contract. I guarantee you they won't at this point. They'll say, you're moving on, and Trafford will be the number 1 in a year. Then Trafford, and what's the date right now? What's the current date? It is 2025. When's the next World Cup? 2026? Trafford will be number 1 by... No, maybe he won't be, though, because that's the only thing I will say is that Trafford will probably get to... Yeah, I mean, he won't get to the World Cup as number 1, will he? Because he'd have to force his way in at Man City. And if he did, then maybe he's got a chance there. But he's going to play Carabao Cup, FA Cup, maybe the odd Champions League, dead rubber or something like that. No, PJ reckons he'll be number 1 inside 2 months. He'll get on the plane, though. I think he has to play to get on the plane. Why would Ederson risk not being the main guy who's at the peak of his career as a goalkeeper? Money, mate, because he's going to go to Saudi or he's going to go to somewhere else and get... it doesn't really matter. If he's number 2, he's still going to get a massive signing on fee, isn't he? When he joins on a free transfer from now. It's a lot easier for him. Any fee that happens, he goes straight into Ederson's bank account. That's how it works. So Ederson, I think he's obviously he's no incentive for him to leave now compared to in a year from now on a free transfer when you'll get a nice bigger wage and a nice big signing on fee. And look, Ederson's career is already peaked. Let's be honest, man. He's won a treble, won 4 leagues in a row. He might. Is he going to do anything bigger and better after that? No, I think Ederson's reached the top of his career already in terms of achievements, accomplishments. I can't see him going to Real Madrid or Barcelona, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I feel like it largely, Ederson has already had his best moments in his career, so I think he'll be looking at his big payday next, and he'll make an absolute fortune somewhere, and obviously good on him, I think it's smart. I think the downside of this whole thing is tiny, really, to be honest. It's one of those things where we can't really lose out here. If Trafford doesn't work, we can sell him for the money that we paid. James Trafford is highly rated. Ederson either has to perform better or get dropped for him. You can't really... It's not a transfer that can fail massively. We either get our money back or he becomes number 1 or Ederson becomes even better. So that's the thing. There's a real win-win-win feel to this overall. So I think it's a really smart bit of business. And the thing is as well, I think it's fair to say that Ortega's form dropped a little bit last season. I think Ortega lost the feeling that he could be number 1, and compared to the season before where he looked really fired up, and I think Ortega just seemed to be a little bit... He just wasn't there as much last season mentally. He felt like he was making mistakes that he didn't make in his first season at the club. Of course, as well, yeah, he's homegrown, which is great, which is I'm very, very excited for this. I think it's a very good bit of business. I think showing that you can bring young academy lads back as well. I still don't get people caring about Newcastle. Sorry, Sheikh, if you're watching this, mate, I love you to bits, but like, who cares about Newcastle? Like, I don't give a shit if Newcastle miss out on transfers. I would never care. Like, sorry, I just saw someone like Sheikh saying, "I feel sorry for Newcastle." Like, who cares, man? Fuck them. Fuck every other team in the league. I don't care about if Newcastle miss out transfers. I don't care if United or Chelsea or Everton miss out. I just don't care. It's none of my business. The only team I care about is the City. I just don't get it. I just don't get why anyone would feel sorry for Newcastle for missing out on some signings. I just don't possibly. I don't know. And look, do we all think as well potentially that Ederson still could go? Look, someone said we need Newcastle to take points off the contenders. They're going to be challenging us if we're as bad as everyone's saying we're going to be. We need Newcastle to be poor. We want more teams to be poor, but why is it sad? Who cares? They're Newcastle. They're not like poverty, you know. Like I just don't get why it's sad. Oh no! Like they'll probably get Sesko or someone like that. Boo hoo! You know what I mean? Like I don't feel sorry for this Saudi billion-owned club. Like I don't get where the sympathy here is. Like they're owned by Saudi billionaires. Like what's the sympathy? I just don't see it. This is not Accrington Stanley, man. Like it's Newcastle owned by Saudi, the Saudis. Is that actually Clutch Clips with a bit of Clutch Clips doing some summarising in the chat here. Said City are Viana's working on the outgoings right now. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, obviously Viana's going to get the players out and all that kind of stuff. I mean, bear in mind as well, we're trying to get Livermento from Newcastle, so I feel even less sorry for them. I just don't get it. I've already seen someone moaning about Ederson staying and all that kind of stuff. I still think there's a small chance he goes, by the way. I think there is. I would not be surprised if Ederson, knowing how he reacted to having the challenge of Ortega last time, I got a feeling Ederson still might push to move to Galatasaray. I might be wrong. We'll see. But either way, the succession planning is there. I really do think James Trafford's got a chance as well of getting into the first team. I really do. I think he has. I strongly believe Ederson's only one poor spell of form away from breaking into that side and getting there. And I think once he gets in, he'll probably stay. I think James Trafford is going to be very liked. And someone asked in the chat earlier, is he good with his feet? He is good with his feet. Is he Ederson good with his feet? No, who is? I've never seen anyone as good with their feet as Ederson in terms of as a goalkeeper. But look, Donnarumma, I would say, is objectively pretty poor with his feet, and he plays for PSG, the best side in the world last season. Well, not in the world, in Europe. Chelsea apparently the best side in the world. Yeah, go and figure that one out. But either way, and that didn't affect them at all. And Trafford's miles better than Donnarumma with the ball at his feet. Put it that way. He's like much closer to Ederson that way. Very confident. I've seen him loads with the academy sides, passing the ball around and all that kind of stuff. Is he an upgrade over Ortega? Absolutely. He's a massive upgrade over Ortega. Hugely. It's one of those things where I feel confident with James Trafford because I've watched him an awful lot. I've been watching James Trafford since 6-7 years or something like that for the academy side. So it's one of those things where I know a lot of people don't know a lot about him and they've only seen him at Burnley, but I guess I feel very vindictive about a lot of players. I remember saying 10 years ago that Adebayo would make it a high standard in the Premier League. And Adebayo is sort of a starter for Chelsea right now. We were Champions League, Club World Cup champions. And it took a long time to get there, but I felt vindicted. I remember saying years ago that, Angelino would be a Champions League level player. And he's been around all the Champions League clubs. So I was confident with that many years ago. Looks like Pablo Maffeo's coming back to the Premier League with Nottingham Forest as well. So I've always been able to see these talent and these young players. I knew that, for example, Keiki was not good enough for City, nowhere near. I knew that Cole Palmer would go on to be a quality player. I said he'd end up being at least Mahrez level. It turns out I was right. He's absolutely fantastic. Romeo Lavia I said would be a cracking player from the first time I saw him play for Manchester City's academy. So I guess the point I'm making here is like I watched James Trafford years ago, and I knew he had the confidence and conviction to be a top level player. He's really good, James Trafford, for what I saw. I mean, it doesn't mean he will make it, but his ability that I saw as academy level is as good as the abilities I saw from outfield players. It truly is. Like, he's a cracking prospect, and he's confident. There's conviction, there's ability, there's self-belief. Like, absolutely, he can be as good as he wants to be in terms of as a goalkeeper. He can be world class. I truly believe that. He's only very young, of course, but James Trafford could be one of the best goalkeepers in the world, and I mean that with sincerity. He's an incredibly talented young lad. Look, it makes it a little bit easier to take, I reckon, given given Edison's there, so you can sort of oversee the transition. I've not seen that clip. I'm going to search for it, mate. What is it? Palmer and James Trafford. What's he saying? But he's a cracking goalkeeper. He really is. What is it? Oh, what is it? I know. Is it the one where Cole Palmer saying, "I bet you he saves this"? Yeah, Traffy, man, he's great. Yeah. Well, Palmer knows him. He knows him. He's a quality keeper. By the way, 27 million is great work. It's great work. Absolutely brilliant work. It really is. There's no downside to this. 14 million net on his initial sale. Super chat from Roberto. Thank you very much. Roberto saying, Viana's a genius. He could sell snow to an Eskimo. Yeah, he's done a cracking bit of business with this. Must admit, he did also pay like 80 million for two young centre-backs that Guardiola hasn't used yet in Vitor Reis and Kusanov. So I am, like, as much as I think he's a cracking director of football and he seems to have a really good eye for talent, I also think, Guardiola has to use these players and like Nico G before we give him too many props, if that makes sense. Because if I guarantee you, if Chika Briggenstein had signed those three players, Nico, Kusanov and Reis, and they hadn't been played, we'd all be blaming Chika Briggenstein. Everyone's been very nice to Hugo Viana, rightfully so for what it's worth, but I've got to say we can't have double standards here, so let's see how these come out. But I think he's done a cracking bit of business here, and I do agree it looks very promising indeed for Viana currently, because this is a really good bit of business. I'm very excited for it. Thank you for the super chat, mate. Absolutely. But then it also, I guess, he's also signed Shirky, Reinders, Nori. It looks very encouraging. Really, really encouraging. A cracking bunch of players so far. Bring back Palmer next. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? So it looks like we've got our man. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'll do another video when it's confirmed properly, of course, next week. I should go live again later, talking about right-backs and so on. But look, you think about the players that we've signed. I'll go through the squad right now, actually, because I do think we start to look at the squad for next season. I like doing this. I like building something that looks approaching the squad. So your goalkeepers. If I was to choose my starting 11 for next season based off the current squad, by the way, shall I do that right now? This has been my ideal starting 11 based off the current squad. So yeah, I'd have Trafford there. Do you know what? I'll go to lineup builder. Where is it? Where's the lineup builder? There we go. Change it to blue. So I would generally choose Trafford. I think Edison needs to kick up the arse. So I think Trafford. Well, let's look at what we could be. Should we build a team entirely of recent signings? This is a side entirely of recent signings, okay? Don't worry. I'm going to build a side only of future signings here, right? Nori. Recent signings side only, okay? That means Vardiol doesn't get in, but I'm just doing recent signings, okay? Kusanov. We haven't signed a right back yet. Do you know what? I'll put Kusanov over on the right for now, just because we can get Vardiol in, and he's pretty recent, isn't he? Let's be honest in terms of the age profile. And Nori can push forward. There we go. So it's going to do recent signings. I'll put Haaland in for now. Why not? No, I'm gonna stick to my word. I'm gonna put Nico. These are only recent signings. Reinders, Shirky, Marmouche. Who else have we got that are recent ones? I put the other young lads that we can put in. Echeverry, Naipan. I'm going to put all the young lads in that we've signed recently. Naipan. Doesn't mean these guys will actually make it, of course. But I think it's interesting to see this. I'm going to put him out wide for now. I know he's not a midfield out wide player, Shirky, but he can. When you see the young players that we've signed and stuff like that, it looks really exciting, doesn't it? You know, Nico G a bit deeper, I reckon, something like that. But look at all the young players that we've signed. Savino, Doku as well, yeah. Like, this isn't as big this 11, but it's showing that how the age of the squad is changing. Nico Riley's not on that team as well, you know. There's so many players. What I think we'll see next season, what I would like to see is obviously Vardial. I think I'd love to see Kusnov, but it's going to be Diaz, let's be honest. And I'm fine with that. I would still want a new right back. Obviously, I want to see Rodri. I would love to see Reinders, Shirky, Haaland. I would quite like to see Foden, but hear me out on this. I would quite to see like an attacking right back. Attacking right back who can get forward and Foden can drift inside a little bit. And we can sort of give the overlapping fullbacks like Nunes does. So we can do sort of like this, basically. Shirky can go up there, Reinders and Rodri can sort of play there. And he can tuck inside, Aït-Nouri can go far. I'd love to do something like that. It'd be so much fun to see. It'd be great. But then, of course, you can play Doku, you can play Nico Gonzalez, you can play so many players, there's so many different options. It's all very exciting, and the squad's getting better and better. I like Trafford, though. I think he's going to be so much more assured in the future for Manchester City's defence. Guys, thanks for watching. Give the video a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Up the Blues, James Trafford. Welcome back to Manchester City. Bye-bye.